All right, hey VC, how you doing? And welcome back for another edition. Well, we've got the last weekend before Christmas coming up, so on this one, I thought I'd show some Christmas albums that I have in my collection. These were by no means recent acquisitions. Some of these certainly from my childhood, and yeah, so let's get through it. And these are classics and not so classic albums. Yes. So let's start off with this one. This is Snoopy's Christmas. I've had this since I was a kid. I certainly remember when this came out. I don't know if this is a first pressing, but this album came out in 1968. But I always remember having this as a kid. So much so that I even put tape on the bottom when it was fraying. This is a Canadian album. The story of Snoopy's Christmas and other favorite children's songs, and this was on the Arc label, which was a Canadian label, and certainly Snoopy's Christmas, not necessarily a Canadian song, but this was a band called the Quiet Jungle that did all the music for this album. And the Quiet Jungle were actually a Toronto-based garage band that I don't believe ever put out a full album, but did produce a number of singles, and then they did also a few albums for Arc Records, as far as I understand, including this one. And this was certainly back in the day, this was a big seller. So it's all cover songs. It's not super garage sounding, but it does kind of have that element to it. And so those are all the covers of the songs. All your favorite Christmas songs. But I always remember seeing this and having it as a kid, and on the Arc label. But it's interesting. Snoopy's Christmas, done by a garage rock band. I just think that's pretty cool. And I always enjoyed that one. Okay, here's another one. Not quite from my childhood, but this is Christmas with the California Raisins. And if you don't remember this, this came out, I believe, 1988. This was claymation that initially advertised California Raisins, promoted California Raisins. The commercials became popular. Then they did like specials, and of course Christmas album, and I think a few other albums as well. This is certainly noted for the fact that Buddy Miles from the Electric Flag and Jimi Hendrix Band of Gypsies is part of this group. And yeah, it's although I don't think he's featured on this, maybe not on this particular album. Just taking a look at some of the credits here, but I know he did some of this stuff. No, he is featured on this album. Lead vocals, Buddy Miles. I do like their version of Happy Christmas on here. Again, it's the California Raisins, but if you're not thinking about and just listening to it musically, it's pretty good. I mean, there's good musicians and good singers on here. So this came out in 1988, and this was on A&M Records. Okay, there's that. All right, the absolute classic Christmas album. This is an old one. It's got, again, tape on the side, kind of falling out the bottom here. But what's Christmas without Bing, the classic Merry Christmas? I don't think there's anything particularly in terms of special about this particular release. I've just had it forever sort of thing. And this was on MCA label, but, it's got all your favorites. What can you say? And this iconic cover, Merry Christmas, Bing Crosby. Came across this one a few years ago. I'd never seen anything quite like this. This is another sort of Bing Crosby Christmas greetings. This is not a 78, but this is actually it's a 33 1/3 long play, but it's in the format of kind of like an EP almost. But I've never seen quite one like this, and it just has really old. It's almost. It's definitely an old album, that's for sure, on the Decca label, with the Andrews Sisters, and, but there's still like 8 tracks available on here, but just in terms of the size, it is very much like an old EP sort of thing. Christmas greetings, Bing Crosby. Okay, I know this still gets brought out every year, maybe for a quick listen. For some people, this is an absolute favorite in terms of Christmas albums, and you gotta like the gatefold as well. John Denver and the Muppets. But yeah, you still see this around, and this is still a favorite with a lot of people. I still enjoy, this is a very odd Christmas compilation. This is called Christmas Party. And it's got like Mike Love of the Beach Boys, and you've got who else? Paul Revere and the Raiders, Three Dog Night, The Association, Bobby Goldsboro, Dean Torrance. Of course, this is not certainly them in their prime sort of thing, sort of a slightly later compilation. I'm not sure, this had to have come out sometime in the 70s. And I think it was based on a television special. Yeah, it says in the classic TV special Scrooge's Rock and Roll Christmas. So that's what it has up at the top there. So again, only for Christmas where you get these truly odd compilations, but just enjoyable. All right, yeah, Herb Albert, Tijuana Brass, another iconic cover for the Christmas album. Very enjoyable overall. And on the classic A&M label. Here's one, in terms of when some of the vocal groups kind of come out of the woodwork at Christmas time. A band I'm not totally familiar with, but the Three Sons, I just have always liked this cover. Ding Dong Dandy Christmas. And yeah, lots going on the cover there. The Three Sons, S-U-N-S. Do like this back. And, you know, again, sort of another typical vocal group for the 50s. And, yeah, we got Christmas with Buck Owens and his Buckaroos. Do like that one. Yeah, Buck Owens, often very underrated, certainly as a performer. Okay, so there's that. And we've got this one, which is a promo copy. I've always thought the cover was really cool. This is a promo copy, Merry Christmas, from Capitol Records. And this is especially prepared for radio and television programming use. And, you know, this has all the, certainly the Capitol artists at the time. You've definitely got Nat King Cole somewhere on here. Frank Sinatra. And quite a host. It's the printing is really tiny on the back, but a nice double album. Just maybe give you a better indication. Of course, then promoting some of the other albums on Capitol at the time. But yeah, very cool. I just always thought that was a cool one. And of course, we've got to put in a little Elvis Presley. What's Christmas like without the King? And in terms of this, we've got Elvis Presley, Blue Christmas. Still a great album. Blue Christmas, It Won't Seem Like Christmas, Holly Leaves on Christmas Day, Santa Bring My Baby Back. And this is the full album version that also gives you Mama Like the Roses, which is not necessarily a Christmas song, but certainly really great overall. And on the RCA label. And then Elvis's other Christmas album. Then I've always thought that this was a rather underrated album, but this is a very good album. Elvis sings The Wonderful World of Christmas. Certainly, with regards to Merry Christmas Baby, at over 5 minutes long, is a great bluesy tune. A lot of string work on this, but overall, this is, I think, a very good album. I've always been amazed when they released it at the time, the way they feature Elvis here on the bottom. I wonder if he approved that or not. Maybe he didn't have a say in the matter, but a great album overall. Okay, this one's my favorite for a wildest Christmas cover, and I guess you could say only in Canada. This is called Canadian Christmas New Sounds of Christmas by Montreal Sound. Whoops, the record's slipping out there. How's that for a cover? Musically, very disco-y, yeah. But it certainly wins for the cover alone. My goodness. And then not to be outdone. Nothing particularly memorable. Again, it's by Montreal Sound. 60 singers and musicians. New original recording as advertised. Okay, and sometimes you just don't know where you get some of these albums or how they come up in your collection, but how about this? NORAD Tracks Santa. Presented as a public service by the North American Air Defense Command. And certainly, I don't know if they still do this, but back in the day, they used to have on the radio those NORAD reports citing Santa Claus, he's on his journey sort of thing. So this kind of gives you the whole thing on a vinyl record. NORAD Tracks Santa Claus. And this is on essentially on the NORAD Commander's label, is that right? And then they do throw in, I think, the odd Christmas song. Yeah, on side 2 it's all Christmas songs, and then side 1 is all these sort of, news bulletins, news reports that we are tracking Santa Claus. An unidentified object has been spotted in the... Amazing. A beautiful Christmas album. Christmas with the Everly Brothers and the Boys Town Choir. Very... in terms of, it has a very sort of church-like feel to it. It's not typically Everly Brothers. It's not a rocking album by any means, but a beautiful listen overall. Certainly with the choir, it's very, very choir type album. Not a typical Everly Brothers album, but absolutely beautiful. And I'll just wrap it up showing you with this one, since we had that other one. Certainly remember this from my childhood. Santa Claus is Canadian, a taste of Christmas Canada. And again, just a variety of artists, not particularly memorable, but great cover. Okay, that's going to wrap it up for this one. Have yourself a great weekend, and cross our fingers, we'll chat again on Monday. Take care, bye-bye.